Webtoon and WebNovel are the keywords to look out for this summer as mega hits that have already proven their quality and fandom return as movies and OTT series on the big and small screens in the coming weeks. For a sneak peek into these productions, we will have a talk with culture critic Professor Chie Hye-won at Kyung Hee University. Welcome back, Professor Chie.
Hello, Professor.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So let's start with an action-packed thriller that's going to be released on Netflix next week, which is Mercy for None, or Gwangjang in Korean. Now, this original webtoon has been assessed as a noir masterpiece. So tell us a little bit more about it.
Right, Mercy for None, Gwangjang is a webtoon which had been released on Naver webtoon platform every Saturday from September 2020 to November 2021. Despite of its relatively short serialization period, it was very popular, especially with the male readers, and was called the best Korean noir webtoon, like a black webtoon. So a lot of fans are actually looking forward to seeing the live action adaptation. It is a story about Ki-jun, who left a group of gang but returns after 11 years due to the death of his younger brother and tracks down the background behind his brother's death.
Sounds very interesting. Now, also what's interesting is the lineup of the main cast members. There's So Ji-seop and Heo Jun-ho and Seung-won and Gong Myung and many more. It looks like it's becoming more common to have all of these star actors appearing at once in such a production.
Right. So that, yes, the cast lineup of Mercy for None is remarkable. Besides the main character Ki-jun, played by So Ji-seop, there are two major groups of gang, Ju-eun and Bong-san. Lee Ju-eun, played by Heo Jun-ho, leads the group of Ju-eun, and Lee Jun-hyuk and Jo Han-chul are included in that group. And Chu Young-woo plays Lee Ju-eun's son, Lee Kim-son, who is a prosecutor, so he's not directly involved in the group. The other group, Bong-san, is led by Gu Bong-san, played by An Gil-gang, and Gong Myung would be the successor. In addition, there are also other figures such as Mr. Kim Sun-seng, played by Cha Seung-won, who coordinate the coexistence of two gangs, two organizations, and Seung-won, played by Lee Bum-soo, who cleans up the scenes of the gang's incidents. So as the OTT original series become larger, the dramas and movies featuring big stars are increasing as well. And Mercy for None is, of course, one of them. So it will be released on Netflix on June 6th. It's like a few days away.
Right, and it's also going to be a national holiday for people.
Of course.
Very good to tune in.
And the weekend, long weekend.
Exactly.
That will probably give it some very good ratings on that holiday. Now, next, I've actually talked about this on K-Enter before as well. So let's talk about the movie adaptation of Omniscient Reader, or The Prophet Omniscient Reader, which is set to be released in July. Now, the trailer is already receiving a lot of attention. Can you tell us more about that, please?
The movie version of Omniscient Reader is another live-action adaptation of the famous web-based contents. It was originally written as a web novel in 2018 and had recorded 200 million cumulative views. And it has also been serialized as a webtoon since 2020 and has surpassed 2 billion cumulative views worldwide with strong fandom. So the movie adaptation is the most anticipated work of this summer. So Omniscient Reader tells the story of an ordinary office worker, Kim Dok-ja, struggling to see the ending he wants in the real world, while a novel he has read for over 10 years become a reality and changes everything. So it is a fantasy action film featuring real-life character Kim Dok-ja, played by An Hyo-seop, and fictional character Yoo Jung-hyuk, played by Lee Min-ho.
Right, you're right. Like, especially with fantasy, they have a very strong reputation, a lot of strong fandom. Now, these fantasy live-action productions, they come with both big expectations as well as concerns, maybe some might say. What needs to be considered for movies from this genre to succeed, do you think?
The reason for the success of fantasy webtoon is mostly because of their solid universe and character-based storytelling. However, when making these fantasy webtoons or web novels into live action, there is a concern that the production cost would be excessively high to represent the fantasy world to like a real life world. So in case of Omniscient Reader, spent a massive production budget of approximately 30 billion Korean won, which translates to around 22 million US dollar. So I believe that one of the most important things when making a popular original work into a movie is the adaptation. So the key to success or value will be how to transfer the attractive elements of the original work, including the main character and the storytelling, into the movie, especially for the blockbuster movies like this with the high production cost and the risks.
Right.
It seems like the webtoon or web novel based content has become an indispensable trend here in Korean content industry. But Professor Chie, is it safe to say that the stronger the original work, the higher are the chances that you succeed in an adaptation? And in that regard, what are your expectations of the two productions that we just talked about?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know it's safe to say because in the case of original content with a strong fandom, there are bound to be both expectation and concerns about the live action adaptations. So as soon as the trailer was released, Mercy for None received a lot of attention. And I guess one of the reasons behind is expectation for Seo Ji-seop's long-awaited comeback and his bold acting. So the strong actors like Heo Jun-ho and Seung-won and rising stars like Chie Hye-won and Gong Myung would offer some other attractive factors different from the webtoon. However, some audiences have already expressed the concerns about the movie version of Omniscient Reader because it changes characters, a little bit of characters, and reduces the storytelling. So those concerns are understandable, but I believe it would be a chance to discover a new narrative or character from a different point of view.
Especially when it comes to web novels or webtoons or even books per se, we can't overlook the fans of the original work. In some of the cases, they can feel a little bit disappointed about the adaptations because they have it in their head already, their own thoughts about what the adaptation could be. So how should producers deal with this?
When producers proceed with the adaptation, it is very, very important for the producers to communicate closely with the original writers and obtain their consent. So, and considering the specificity of the different medium, most original creators to admit to some degree of adaptations and some changes. So the producers emphasize these points in the promotional or marketing process to the audiences and to appeal to the fans of original work with a new attractive elements.
I also feel that sometimes if you have famous actors, it's kind of even more difficult to match the original work's characters with the actor because you already know kind of the personality or character of the actor as well. So maybe that could be another task as well. But last but not least, Professor Chie, are there any other adaptations we can look forward in maybe the latter half of the year?
Yeah, besides Mercy for None and Omniscient Readers, Casual starring Lee Jun-ho, Kim Hye-jun, and Kim Hyang-gi will be released later this year on Netflix. And Low Life Pine, the adaptation of Yoon Tae-woo's webtoon, the famous webtoon of the same name, will be released on Disney Plus, starring Yoo Seung-young, Im Soo-jung, and Yang Se-jong. So more webtoon and web novel-based works are in production or scheduled to be released. So let's continue to watch.
Let's do so. Well, thank you very much, Professor Chie, for your insights today, and have a great rest of the week.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Walter, as always. We're going to see you back soon.
I'll see you very soon.